Hello there. Thank you for joining today. Today I want to talk about something. I usually want to do a video of makeup and a video of talking about something, and I didn't do that the last time because I promised a part 2 for the Halloween makeup. So now this is my video of talking about something. So I want to talk about the experience that I had with lot Polish Airlines. So for context, my husband is American, I'm a Romanian, and we have a kid. And obviously his parents are Americans and they live in US. And we were gonna meet, we were gonna visit so they can hang out with our child and meet him for the first time, basically. And because of a lot of reasons that I don't want to get into, we decided to go and meet in Canada. Now, obviously, that would be a lot of money. So we got the Polish Airlines. We got tickets with Polish Airlines because they seem to be really kid friendly. We wanted to make sure, because it would be a really long flight, we wanted to buy our kid a seat too, so we would have 3 seats, which in my head when we bought it, I was thinking, he would be on his chair. We bought him a lot of new toys and books and stuff that he can play and look through and whatever. So in my head, I thought the idea was of he can sit in his chair. Obviously the chair is like big for him, so he would have a little bit of room like in front of him or next to him to put like a toy or something, and he can play. And when we got the tickets online, it said that kids under 2 years of age, need, if they have their own seat, they need a car seat. So car seat that goes into the plane seat, which for me was crazy because I was like, okay, I did not agree with that because, I mean, you have seat belts, but obviously it's safety. So I was like, okay, but it's crazy because I never heard of this. Plus, the thing was that under 2 years old, that was the thing. And in that moment, our kid was a year and 8 months and a half. So I was like, it's like right there, and he's pretty like tall and like broad for a kid his age, and he actually is. So I was like, maybe we can skip the car seat part because we live in Bucharest in Romania, which is a big city, is the capital of Romania, and it's really big and it's full of cars. So we don't have a car because if you have a car in Bucharest, what are you doing? You shouldn't, because you don't get anywhere faster unless it's night. If it's night, yeah, you will get there faster. Any other time, you will be in traffic forever. So obviously for us, it didn't make sense to have a car. And obviously we wouldn't have a car seat. So I called the airlines and I explained the situation, and they were like, no, it's for his safety, so we can't bypass this. Like, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay. And I thought that's where it would end. But then my husband, the forever researcher, he looked up online to see like people's experience with like car seats, if like they need it, and all that. So he saw a lot of people that were complaining that they had to get car seats, and then they got in the plane, like on the plane, and the car seat went with luggage, because they didn't need the car seat. So I was like, I really don't want that to happen. Like, if we buy a car seat, we better use it. And we looked up like everywhere online. We tried to like do our own research. And the other thing was that technically, if you fly somewhere with your child, and it's just, let's say it's just me and my kid, then I don't have to buy him a seat. He can sit on my lap. So I was like, okay. Also, he would have to sit in my lap for the takeoff and for the landing, and if there are any turbulences. The rest of the time he can roam free, he can play like on the floor or whatever. Well, it's not much space, but the idea is you could. So that really pissed me off, because I was like, wait, I'm trying to do the nice thing, not bother, like try to like not bother people as much as I can. So I want to get him a seat, and I got him a seat, and you're making it really hard for us. Because imagine sitting in a car seat, as a baby, because it's really like you're stuck there, you don't have a lot of like room to wiggle to anything. So obviously that would be really annoying, and again, that would be required for the landing and the takeoff. But obviously you can't just like after the takeoff, when the plane is like at the right altitude, be like, oh, I'm gonna uninstall the car seat now and I'm gonna install it before the landing. Obviously you're not gonna do that, because again, what if there are any turbulences? So that was in my head. I was like, okay, but how? And I called them again and I chatted with them, and I was like, how does it make sense? Because again, we're talking about a kid that's just under 2 years old, that has a lot of energy, that obviously can't sit still, because honestly, who can sit still for like that long, especially because you don't understand, like the baby doesn't understand what's happening, and why do I have to sit, so I was explaining, like, a kid with that much energy, how does it make sense in your head that it's safe if the kid sits on the parent's lap for the landing, for the takeoff and the landing and any turbulences? How is that safer than if the kid would be in his seat without a car seat? Obviously no one could answer that. And long story short, we called a lot, we chatted a lot, and the conclusion was, you have to buy a car seat. So we bought a car seat that was like, because I didn't want to like get a cheap one, because I wanted him to be as comfortable as he could in a car seat, obviously. Because again, if you don't know, from Romania to Canada, it's like a lot of hours. We had to we had the flight from Romania to Warsaw in Poland, and then from Warsaw to Canada. And the first flight was like an hour and 50 minutes, but the second one was like 9 hours. So obviously I wanted him to be as comfortable as he can. So we bought a car seat that was like a little bit over $200. And I know that you might think that it's not expensive. Again, you have to think of Romania and the money we have in, well, not the money we have in Romania, the paycheck, the living wage in Romania, the prices in Romania, because there is a difference, obviously. And we bought the car seat, and all was good, we were waiting for our trip. The time came, we went to the airport, and at the gate, well, actually before the gate, when we checked in the luggage, the woman there was like, okay, like give me the car seat too. And we were like, well, no, because we'll need it in the plane. And she was completely shocked. She was like, what do you mean you need it on the plane? And we were like, well, we called the airline and the airline said that you need a car seat. And that's when my blood started boiling. Like, that's when it started. And she was completely confused. She was like, okay, I'm gonna put a tag as if the car seat will go with the luggage, but you take it with you. When you get at the gate, ask the flight attendant, the captain, whoever you find there, ask them if you need it, and if you don't, they can take it where the luggage goes, because you already have the tag. So I was like, okay. I was already, like, I was expecting it. We get to the gate, and my husband goes and like talks to like the flight attendant or like the airport guy, whatever, someone there, and was like, okay, so we have this car seat, blah blah, the whole shebang. And the guy was like, I don't know what to tell you right now. We'll wait for the captain, like, of the plane. Captain? The pilot. Captain. Well, he kind of is a captain. The pilot, and we'll ask him if you guys need it or not. But I do want to mention that everyone we talked to was completely shocked. Like, everyone in the airport that we talked to was completely shocked that the airline asked us for a car seat, which made me really angry. We get at the gate, the pilot comes, and the guy stops him, and he's like, hey, and explains the whole situation to the captain. They come to us and tell us, like, yeah, you won't need a car seat. And I was like, okay, but this flight is like the one to Warsaw. So I was like, okay, but this is not the only flight we have with you guys. So I want to make sure that if you say that we don't need a car seat, it will be the same thing when we get to Warsaw to Toronto flight. Like, I don't want to have any issues of we get to Warsaw trying to get on the flight and the crew will like scold us that we don't have the car seat. And he was like, no, you don't need the car seat. It's fine. I got pissed off because we spent the money on the car seat and we don't need it because we don't have a car in here and we don't need it on the plane. But I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Obviously, we were going to need a car seat in Canada for the car that we would have there. But my idea was to get one that was cheaper and to get one from Canada so we don't drag this car seat with us from Romania to Canada. But I was like, you know what, we're still gonna probably use it in Canada, so it is what it is. It's fine. So we get to Warsaw. And when we got to Warsaw, we got on the plane, Warsaw, Toronto, and you guessed it, we needed a car seat. And this girl comes to my husband, like on my husband's side, because we were on the middle row. And she comes on my husband's side. But you see, my husband is a really, really, really calm person. Really calm. I am Romanian, so I'm not. So this woman comes, this flight attendant comes on his side and is like, how old is the child? And I knew where it was going. I was like, I know. So I told the woman, like, he is a year and 8 months and something. Does he have a car seat? And I was like, no, he does not. Technically, he does. And it's with the luggage. And I told her the whole story But I didn't tell her the whole story in a nice manner. No, I told her um, the story really annoyed, really angry, because I was like, are you actually shitting me right now? You, like, because I expected this. I expected this. I actually asked the pilot for the flight Romania to Warsaw. I actually asked the pilot, are you sure we won't need it on the other flight? Are you sure that the other crew from the other flight will have the same idea as you, the same conclusion? And he was completely, like, nonchalantly, he was like, you don't have to worry. It's all good. You don't need the cars. And then it happened exactly what I thought it was going to happen. So I was actually really angry, really, really angry. So we got to Canada. We had all the fun. That will be another video. And wait, no, sorry. I forgot a little story. So obviously when you have a long flight, you get a meal. And obviously we had 3 seats, right? We made sure that, because that was my first flight. Let me tell you this. That was my first flight. So I was really like, you hear all the stories of like plain food being really bad and bland and ew. So I was like really excited to try it. And obviously I was excited for our kid to like get something that's probably hopefully not bad, like not bland and like ew. So we selected, when we bought the tickets, we selected what type of meal we want for each one of us. Like he would have a kid meal and so on. So when we get to the flight Warsaw to Canada, they bring the food. They bring my husband food. They bring my food. Everyone is eating. Everyone is eating. They did not bring any food for my kid. And I was like, what is happening? And then I saw them, well, before I got pissed off and was like, what is happening? Before that, I saw them with the cart giving some kid meal to other kids. And I was like, yeah, that's the one, yeah. Okay. No, they didn't bring it to us at all. At all. So fortunately I was not really hungry, and I was there was quite a bit of food, and I shared my food with our kid. But I did stop the flight attendant and I was like, what is happening? We have 3 seats, so each seat should get a meal. And we, like, our kid should get a kid meal. And the flight attendant was like, well, see, when you buy the ticket online, you have to mention that you want food for your kid. Like you want a kid's meal. And I was like, yeah, we did. And they were like, oh, see, well, let me, like, I'll be right here. I'll be right back. So they went in where their little part is, where they have all the food and all the documents and stuff. So he comes with this piece of paper with a list of the kids that would be on the plane. And he was like, oh, what's his name? And he's like, oh, I don't have him on the list. And I'm like, cool. I requested food for him. And also I was like, and also, even if I wouldn't request food for like a kid's meal, you still have a person, a human, that's sitting on the seat where you're not gonna give them food. Like, let's say that you fly from Warsaw. Let's say the flight before, like Romania to Warsaw, like that didn't happen. It's still Warsaw to Toronto, where it's like 9 hours and a half. You're telling me you're gonna have a person, like, let's not even think of like being a kid. You have a human that you're not feeding for 9 hours and a half? Like, are you serious? Everyone else is getting food twice, and you have nothing for this one person. So they were like, they apologized, and basically they didn't give me any conclusion, any resolution, any solution at all. So I literally, like, let's say I was hungry. Let's say I was hungry and I was like, I was a person who has a big stomach and eats a lot. I would have still had to like share the food with my kid, which probably would make me be hungry and probably him be hungry later too. So I got really pissed off because the food wasn't a lot. I said the food was a lot of food. It was a lot of food. As in, it was like this little salad with this little dessert, with this little like hummus, this little rice, this little, like, it was a lot of little, like a lot of different things, but it was like a mouthful of them. The rice, I got like rice with chicken masala, I think. That was quite a bit. But it was like a portion, like a normal person portion. So if I would have been hungry, I would have eaten that whole thing. So that was really, really, really enraging because I was like, okay, car seat, like, screw the car seat situation. But you're letting a human starve. Well, not starve, I'm being dramatic. But you're not providing food for a person for 9 hours and a half. Like, that's insane. So we actually checked, obviously not on the plane because they didn't have Wi-Fi. By the way, they don't have Wi-Fi. So when we got to Canada, we actually checked. We did request a kid's meal. We actually did. So that was, when we got to Canada, I was just like, I'm so happy that I'm here. Like, I don't even want to think anymore. You know, it is what it is. I want to enjoy the time here. But it was a really frustrating situation, like over like 24-ish hours. Really, really frustrating. Then we get to the flight back to Romania, which was the same, Toronto to Warsaw, Warsaw to Bucharest. When we went to like the airport in Canada to get on the plane, we had obviously the car seat. Again, you don't need it. No one is asking for this car seat. Like, you don't need it. It's gonna go with the luggage. So I was like, are you sure? Because look, we had the same issue when we came here and explained the whole thing. No, you don't need it. Okay. We get on the plane, and guess what? We needed it. We actually needed it. Again, fortunately, the girl that I talked to Warsaw to Canada, the flight attendant, she was a mean girl. Like, you could see, and also like the demeanor she had, like just the way she was really like mean, like not a nice flight attendant. And obviously me being angry and explaining something and really, really really angry, that didn't help either. But the guy from Toronto to Warsaw, on our way back, a flight attendant guy came on my side and was like, how old is the kid? And I was like, no. Literally, that was my reaction. I was like, no, please don't start this, please. And he smiled and kind of laughed, and he was like, what do you mean? And I explained all that happened. And he was like, he's 2 years old? And I was like, no, he's like a year and 8 months. So the guy was like, okay, so he's 2 years old. So we moved on. And then with the food, they actually had the food for him. And it was really nice because they had like the kid meal. They brought the kid meal, and like a girl brought the kid meal. And then this guy came like on my side and was like, hey, we have this, like we have plenty of this, like take it. It was like a little jar of like food, the normal, like the jars of food that you can get for babies, and the little, how do you call that, like the little bags with nozzle, I think it's called, with fruit puree in it. And he brought them, and he was like, oh, we have so many of them, like just if you want to see the kid meal, good, you'll have these for later. If he doesn't want the kid meal, you have this, so you have options. So he was really nice. He was actually the best flight attendant, and basically we were in 4 flights that had multiple flight attendants, and he was honestly the nicest guy. Don't ask me his name, I have no idea, because he was Polish. So even if he would have told me his name, I would have been like, yeah, cool. So that flight was fine. Basically, yeah, it was fine. Then we got to Warsaw, and we had the layover was like 5 hours or so. And it was not fun, obviously, because like we were really tired, really tired. All 3 of us were really tired, but it was really frustrating because we had the flight was initially at 2:30, and we got in the airport, we got like where the gates are, and we looked on the screen to see which gate we should go to. Obviously we were there early. We didn't look when we got there because it would have been like 5 hours early that would be done. But we ate a little bit and all that, we hung out a little bit. One thing I have to say that I loved about the airport in Warsaw is that they have this like kid playground. It's small, but it's really cool because they have these interactive screens. They have I think they have a slide. I might be wrong. No, I think they have a slide. But they have these like cute little puzzle that are like on the walls of a box or something. And either puzzles or a lot of like interactive little games, which was really cool. That really helped a lot. And so it was getting close to our flight. We checked to see when where is gonna be, like which gate is gonna be at. And it was, I don't know, I'm just gonna say a number. It was, oh wait, because it's actually significant. So actually we did look when we got in the airport. We looked to see maybe if they have a gate, and they were saying that is gonna be at the gate like 40 something, 30 something, 37, 40, around there. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go and hang out in that area. We had obviously a lot of luggage. Yeah, luggage that goes in the plane, but also we had like 2 carry-ons and 3 backpacks that we had to carry, obviously. So we had a lot of luggage and also a crazy baby. So it was, we went to like around that gate and we hung out there, we ate something and all that. And then we looked again to see, like, make sure that that's the gate and all that. We looked on the screen and we couldn't find our flight anymore. And I was like, that's weird, because it's like closer. So obviously I should see it now more than I should have seen it back then. So I kept checking and I kept checking and I kept checking, and then at some point it appeared on the screen that our flight is gonna be at 3:30. I got pissed off. No, I'm lying. Oh, no, that's not what happened. No, we got to the gate and it was the 40 gate. We got to the gate, everyone was there. Like, it wasn't just us, it was a lot of people that were waiting there. It was like 30 minutes before the flight. No, 40, around 40 something minutes before the flight was supposed to leave. So we see the crew, the flight attendants, gathering there at the gate and like sipping some coffee and drinking and like talking and, you know, just chatting, all good. And then we see them leaving, all of them, all of them. And my husband is like, oh, that's not a good sign. Obviously, it was like the first time I was flying, so I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And they announced that our flight is gonna be delayed to 3:30. So it was like, okay, cool. And we hung out a little bit more. After a little bit, like a little bit later, we looked again at the screen. It was gonna be gate 6. So we had to go from 40 to 6 with a crazy baby and a lot of luggage. And you know what? I know people go through this. You know what? I was really pissed off about this because for me it didn't make sense. I was like, you know what? You don't have to say the gate. We looked to see if there's like a gate. If the plane is not there, why did you say the gate? Just don't say the gate until like the plane is there. Because when the plane gets there, they have to clean it, they have to like re-prepare everything. So it's not like the plane gets there, people get off, and then people get on. They still need some time to clean and all that. So I was like, just say the gate. When the plane landed, you know what gates are open. Tell him, hey, plane, go to that gate. And that's when you show. But it was really annoying because they changed the gates 4 or 5 times. And I'm not joking. And that was in an hour and a half time. Like in an hour and a half, they changed the gate 5 times. And I'm not joking. And then we went to the gate that they decided was going to be on. And we found this quiet room for kids. So we went there. They had some toys there. We got there and I was like thirsty. I went to get some water. So obviously, again, a lot of luggage. I left it all in the quiet room with my husband and our kid. And I went to get water. And the woman was like, okay, but I need to see the boarding pass. And I was like, what? I don't have it with me, but I can show you the email with the flight and my name on it. Because that's what I had, on me. And she was like, no, I can't serve you without the boarding pass. And I was like, are you actually serious? And she was like, yeah, I can't sell anything to you. And I was like, why? I got really angry. I was already angry because at that point, again, at that point, the gate changed 4 times. We already ran like this, with a crazy baby and luggage. And I was like, I just want a water. And she was like, yeah, I can't give it to you because you don't have the boarding pass with you. And I was like, who hangs out in an airport for no reason? One. Two, who wants to buy water from the airport for no reason? Like if you don't have a flight, why would you buy water from the airport? Because the anything in the airport is like 10 times more expensive. So why would you not want to sell it? Anyway, moved on. We went we went as I walked to get the water, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop one more time to see like on the screen to see like how is our flight. Guess what? From 3:30, they went back to 2:35. Like 2:30, 2:35. And that was like 10 minutes. It was literally like in 10 minutes the flight is boarding. No one said it over the microphone, over the speakers. No one said anything. So if I wouldn't have looked, if I wouldn't have been paranoid and wouldn't have looked on that screen, I wouldn't have known. We would have literally missed the flight. They didn't say anything. Maybe they would have said the last call. So yeah, maybe we would have found out. But what if we weren't there at that gate? And we had to like go from like, I don't know, like again, like from 6 to 40. We would have completely missed the flight that had our luggage on. So anyway, we obviously didn't miss the flight, but we got there and we waited to board the plane, and it literally took forever because they changed the screen at the gate with the we're boarding now this flight. So everyone gathered there and everyone waited there for over 30 minutes. We waited there at the gate because they had to clean and everything. And I was like, then why would you say that? Why would you say we're boarding? You're not boarding, you're cleaning. So that was our experience. It was not fun. Honestly, I said like this is the worst experience someone could have ever had as the first flight. But also it was really annoying because I looked around just like on YouTube, on Reddit, anywhere I could find something to see how like reviews and like what people think of this airline, and I could barely find anything. And all the reviews were like, the food is okay, the seat has this much space, and like the flight is like this, the whatever. Like it wasn't any this is this is my experience with boarding, with the airport and the gate thing. Like I don't know, I'm assuming that wasn't the first time that had ever happened. Also, I want to mention there was no storm, there was no tornado, there was no hurricane, there was nothing going on for them to be so late, and then not late, but then late, but then not late, but then technically also late because they had to clean. So there was no weather weirdness that was happening. But I wanted to make this video because honestly, I think that, well, I had a really bad experience from my point of view. And I wanted people to know this because, again, I couldn't find anything. I tried to find something, anything, and I couldn't. So I was like, I want people to know. Also, I forgot to mention that when we got to Warsaw, when we got to Warsaw, we wanted to do the check-in kind of thing. Like I actually, too bad my husband is not around me right now because I actually forgot exactly what we tried to do. Basically, do like a check-in, like for them to scan our tickets. So we're good to go. So when the plane is boarding, we can just go right in, basically. So they already, as I said, when we got to Warsaw, they already had a gate. So I went to this woman, and we thought that's the gate, but it was like, it wasn't 6, it was -6 or something of the sorts. Anyway, and this woman was like, "Oh no, no, you don't, no, not here. Behind me, that's where your flight is, where your gate is." So she confirmed that was the gate. We saw on the screen that was the gate for our flight. And also she told me right behind me, literally, you look behind me, that's where you go. So we got there where she told us to go, where also it was like 6, pretty big, it was pretty big 6, you couldn't miss it. And when we got there, obviously you're like, you saw it on the screen. That woman told you behind me, and also confirmed it's 6. So when we got there, it was 6. I was like, okay, so this one is it. We get there. We give the whatever employee of the airport the tickets to scan them. And she scanned them and she's like, "This is not your flight." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. It says the gate 6. The woman from that place told us to get here, that this is our gate, this is 6, this is our gate." And this employee got really pissed off. I wasn't pissed off. I actually wasn't, because again, we just landed from the Toronto to Warsaw flight. That was a pretty okay flight, other than the car seat that happened like in the beginning, and I moved on. So I wasn't annoyed at all. I was having like an okay time. And this woman just started just scolding us. She was like, "What, you can't read? Like, can't you see? That is not your flight. Don't you see? It says there that we're boarding for this flight." And I was like, okay, cool. We saw on the screen this gate. That woman sent us here. Again, I don't understand why you have to be so aggressive. And she's like, "I understand that, but can't you read?" So we moved on, we left. Again, like this was my experience. This was our experience. I personally would not ever recommend to anyone to fly with the lot Polish Airlines. From the car seat crazy thing. Also, we still have that car seat. We're trying to get rid of it and we can't. Like, I'm trying to sell it. I don't want to give it away. Again, it was quite some money for us. And also, again, it's brand new. Literally has no stain, it's not dirty, it's not even dust on it, okay? Because we got back and we put it in the box, so it sits in its box. It's perfect condition. I obviously don't want to give it away, honestly. I might be an AH, but I don't want to give it away. So we're still struggling to get rid of it and like sell it. And it was that whole drama with the car seat. But then you add the fact that there was no food for my kid on the flight. Even though we selected, there was nothing other than my food and my husband's food too. But our kid didn't like his food, so basically it was my food. So that was not a good experience, honestly. Most of the flight attendants were not nice, were really arrogant, and had a superiority demeanor. Honestly, there was that guy from Toronto to Warsaw, that flight attendant guy, that was really, really nice. And then was the flight attendant, one flight attendant from the Toronto to Warsaw, just him. The rest of them were not, were like, they had the resting face. Um, and they had that demeanor of like, if you want to ask me something, just so you know, you're gonna bother me and I'm not gonna enjoy our conversation. So that was the demeanor they had. And another flight attendant um, from Warsaw to Bucharest, she was pretty nice. She was really nice, but she had, I don't know if she was new, but she had no idea about anything. Initially, she told me that we need a car seat. I explained the whole situation, and then she told me that our kid cannot sit in his seat, that he has to be on my lap for the whole flight. And I was like, I've never heard of this ever. Also, we did read the rules of your airlines, obviously, because we knew we needed the car seat. So this makes no sense. But I was like, you know what? I was so tired again. I was so tired. We had like 2 more hours of flying and we were gonna get home, and I just wanted to be home. So I was like, okay, fine. I didn't know that, but that's okay. So she went to another flight attendant, and then that other flight attendant came to us and apologized and was like, no, just for the takeoff and the landing, you'll have to hold your kid on your lap. Then the rest of the time he can sit in his chair. So it was that little misunderstanding, miscommunication happening too. But it's just the whole experience that we had with them was not fun, not pleasant. Also, customer support, the calling and the chat customer support, they were not helpful. They were not empathetic. They were not nice. They were like robots that were copy pasting some scripts they already had in front of them. So that was like, the whole experience for me was really annoying. My husband was really upset about it, and he has flown a lot in his life, and he said that this was the worst experience he had too. So I think that says something. I wanted, if someone is wondering about Polish Airlines, I want maybe for them to find this video so they can have an idea of a personal experience, not just the car seat, the seat dimensions and the food, how was it, how the food was, and whatever. I want them to have like, to see an actual personal experience, not the objective dimensions and stuff and all that. Thank you for hanging out with me. I think this was a long video. I talked a lot. I have to say, I talk a lot. I have to give you this warning. I'm really chatty. I talk a lot. Please let me know if you have any feedback, if you have any questions. I will be making a video about our experience in Canada. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I will look through the questions if there are any, and I will make sure to incorporate them in the video about Canada. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hoped I gave you some information that maybe you didn't know or you were interested in. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.